Ozzie and Harriet Nelson, and it's always a pleasure to have them on the show. Would you welcome, please, Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Yes. I must apologize. We were out there quite a while I was out there. My lapels went out of style.
I'm sorry to keep you back there so late, really. You know what I love about California? The way the gals dress. When you walk out on this type of stuff, it's just, you know...
Thank you. Yes, last time we saw you was in New York. I was a bit more formal.
Right. Yeah, you were on the way back to Rutgers that time, or you just...
Yeah, we were going down, they had the Centennial down there. It was really pretty interesting.
We had a marvelous time.
The first time I'd been to Rutgers in about 30 years, and I don't know if you've ever gone back to the scenes of your youth. It's a little difficult sometimes. Somebody once said that you go back to try to recapture the scenes of your youth, and you get back there and you discover that what you're really trying to recapture is your youth itself. If you'd like to make a note of that, Ed, and if you want to throw it in from time, if the show's bubbling along too fast, you want to slow it down a little.
We could have a Xerox of that made up and pass. We'll have that Xerox and pass it out as the people leave tonight. No, that's true. Isn't it kind of frustrating, though, sometimes when you go back? You're the stranger now, you know, in a way.
Yes.
Well, I had an awfully good time. You know, I'm sort of efforts to Rutgers graduate. Through the years, it's rubbed off on me. But the night before the game, they had a parade. And it was a 2-hour parade. We had a marvelous time. And it all wound up on the grounds of the old campus. And they got some wonderful buildings, like 150 years old, you know. And when we wound up there, this great caravan of cars, and there was a band of about 100 pieces, and the Glee Club, and about 2,000 students. And they all stood on the lawn and sang... on the banks of the old Raritan, very quietly. And I know you're supposed to be sophisticated these days.
Did you puddle up a little bit?
You don't get a lump in your throat. You're pretty tough.
I always feel that I felt sorry that I didn't go to a college like Rutgers or any place like that. I went to a college that was called Ralph's College. We got no credit for it.
That's a boarding college, isn't it?
Right.
Yes, Ralph.
You got no grades in it. It's just to play a guy open a college.
We were talking about college reunions and going back. You said an interesting thing about when you see people you haven't seen for quite a few years, that they look like children or youngsters. You remember them growing up, and it's not quite real if you haven't seen them. That's true.
Yeah, you know, when we were waiting for the parade, a funny thing happened. We were they had a whole cavalcade of cars, and we were sitting there, and there were a very nice bunch of kids from the college and a lot of kids from town, and they brought sandwiches up to us and hot coffee and stuff. And one kid came up to me and handed me a cigarette. And I don't smoke, and I had a cigarette, and I looked at it, and I thought, this is a rather strange-looking cigarette. And it smelled a little strange, and I said to Harry, this looks a little strange, doesn't it? And just then the president of the university came over, and he said, I'd like you to meet the chief of police. And he said, he's in charge of the escort for the parade. And Harriet's staying next to me, so I tried to slide this to Harriet, and she backed away. Now I'm here, and I'm standing here, and I quickly stuck it in my pocket. And here's this thing smoldering in my pocket, and I'm in between the chief of police and the president of the university. But,
it's lit.
Oh, yes, it's lit. It's lit. Yeah, we're all ready for action. When the chief of police put his hand out, I didn't know whether he was going to confiscate the evidence or he was going to shake hands with me.
That's a funny scene.
Yeah.
Somebody said you were back there. He was trying to find the vaudeville theater where he played in vaudeville.
Theater.
Is that where he started?
That was part of the parade. That was where he had his first triumph in vaudeville.
Well, if you call it a triumph, it was my freshman year in college, and I went by the theater, the Rivoli Theater, and they said amateur night tonight. And they said the prizes, $5, $3, and $1 for the prizes. So I could use the money, naturally, so I entered the contest. And this is a true story. And I went down there, and I remember the first act that was on was a guy stood in the amber spotlight, and he recited The Kid's Last Fight. I'm sure you recited it many times. And there were several other... several other acts on the bill. Then I came on, and I played the banjo, and I sang, and I did a little dance, and I played the saxophone. I did the whole routine, told a couple of stories, and I figured I did pretty well. I got a pretty good hand. Then there was one more act that followed me, and this was an old man. He must have been in his early 70s, and he had a bald head, and he came out, and he did this. Oh, it was a real kinky little dance. It was just, it was pitiful. It was just awful. And he kind of built up, and he worked up to it. And the last 4 bars, the band built up really big, and the old man, and he did a backflip. And he landed right on his head, his bald head, right on the stage, and he stretched out on the stage. Well, his wife was in the wings with me, and she ran out, and I ran out, and we picked up this poor old man. He said, I'm all right, I'm all right. And we held him up there, and the guy came out with the money, and I'm holding this poor old man up, and they hold the money over his bald head, and they tore the theater down. He won first prize easily, you see, and we got him off. Now, I said, are you all right? He said, I'm fine. Now we do the second show. And I went out and I did mine. So the kid did the thing with the kid's last fight, and I did mine. I did pretty well again. Now the old man, I figured, what guts? The old man is going to go out and do his act again. Now he goes out and he does the same dance. He jumps up. Again, he stretched out. It was his act.
Right on his head?
So his wife said, now we pull. I said, will you get out and lift him up yourself? I said, that's a bum cross.
That's his act.
That was his act. And he did.
The head man.
Oh, that's the boy. $5.
Yeah.
So the Rivoli was the scene of his first triumph.
Wow. Yes, no, two second place. I got $6, a total of $6.
When did you form the band?
The band, we started the band in 1930 at Glen Island Casino.
Had you met Harriet yet?
Yes.
Had you met Harriet by that time?
No, not when we first started the band, but Harriet was the first vocalist with the band. It's a very funny thing. I think no matter where you come from, you always think of some other part of the country as being more glamorous. And we started at Glen Island Casino, and we also played at the Paramount Theater and different hotels. And but the glamour spot in those days was the Coconut Grove, the Ambassador Hotel. That was where Bing Crosby was and the whole group. So we figured we'd really arrive because they said, if you want to, we can book you into the Coconut Grove. And I knew, I'd heard all about it. I'd never been out here, but I know that tremendous big electric sign that says, you know, whatever the band was, Guy Lombardo and all. I thought, what a thrill just to drive down the Wilshire Boulevard and see that sign. So we came on a series of one-nighters. We worked our way all the way out here to the coast one night. This was 1935. Harriet was at the band. And I said, I can't wait to drive down there and see the sign. And we drove right down there, and there was this tremendous sign on Wilshire Boulevard. Opening tomorrow night, Ozzie Olsen.
Ozzie Olsen?
Ozzie Olsen and his orchestra.
Only one thing could have been worse, and a 70-year-old man who danced. That would have killed you. I wish we had more time tonight. Next time we're going to put over here, and you're going to do the talking. Thank you, Harriet. Ozzie, thank you, Louie. And Trini. Thank you. Good night.